everybody? Welcome to another episode of Games ReCAP. I was trying to burp, but I also forgot what I was going to say. We are here every morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Who are we exactly? I am Brandon Fant.
I'm Larry Charles, other half of the team. Welcome to our show. Every morning we try to find the biggest news from the game industry, and we break it down, and we give you the game developers' perspective, I guess.
We are game developers, giving daily game news. And to kind of go over the pre-roll, obviously you are watching us live. If you're not, you should tune into our twitch.tv /blue_champs. Or watch us after the fact on youtube.com/bluechamps. Support us in any way through Patreon to kind of get this show as an audio podcast form as our next goal, or donate directly, or use Twitch Prime subscription where Ninja himself doesn't approve because they take half. Like a divorce like before a marriage.
Just wake up in the middle of the night. Half. Oh, my God.
So we prefer the donations if you have those monies lying around. But if you have a Prime subscription, if you're a Prime member, we'll take $250 because that's just free for you guys to use and to give to us.
Here's the new Subway rule. Every subscriptions is a $5 footlong.
Yes.
I lost money on that first one. But it was still fun to have the sandwiches. So
it was delicious.
Thanks to, I think it was Eki Tubby was one of the people who gave us a sandwich that day.
Yep.
I forgot the other guy.
Right. Well, let's go over today's topic, all right? So Rockstar was in hot waters pretty much every game that they ship, right?
Since Grand Theft Auto 3.
Since Grand Theft Auto, where they overwork, they crunch to kind of crank out that massive game that everybody is waiting for, where they sell billions and billions of dollars. Yeah. GTA is testament to the new era of Rockstar, where there are over 120 million copies. Yeah. And their online presence is happening every new drop with the casino thing update happening a couple weeks ago.
That casino.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Because shortly EA Wives, there was Rockstar Wives. Yeah. And then after, especially Rockstar releasing Red Dead, the same thing happened again. And they did respond publicly, but now they are actually making changes. Yeah. Which, of course, through outside pressure, when people do publicly respond, not a lot of people follow through, right? We're still waiting for Riot's impending response. Yeah, we never know, right? It takes a while to stop grabbing balls and asses. So
grabbing balls. Oh man.
Hey man, that's a bro code.
Hide your kids,
there.
Hide your wife. You both can get it. Yeah. They're raping everybody out here.
So let's break down this article. Initially, when Larry, why don't you kind of give an overview of what this is?
Sure. So we all know that Red Dead Redemption has sold the gangbusters. Their online may not be doing as well as GTA Online, but Grand Theft Auto 5 also sold very well, and Grand Theft Auto 5 Online is doing very well. And because of how often they want to release content through these channels, they have been obviously known to push the metal of their employees like hard, not just the developers. Or I don't want to say it like that. Not just the content creators, but also the content verifiers, like with the QA department. Yeah. So silver lining that we're starting to see. Well, before I get to the silver lining, a lot of news came out about the work conditions. About the hey, you're going to work your ass off for this project, but you're also very temporary. Yeah. You're not going to get benefits. You're not going to be part of a bonus pool or anything like that. Right. You literally will just get paid $1 per hour, and then when we're done with you, good riddance. Yeah. That doesn't look great when you're making so much money that you can't count, and you have all the resources to not treat people this way, but you treat people this way. Right. That only looks bad upon you. So Rockstar looks like they're realizing, hey, people are hip to us doing things wrong. We don't need to be so aggressive and predatory towards these capital gains. Yeah. Let's try to make this better for everyone so that we can stay in business longer. As you see in this article, months after labor controversy, Rockstar converts game testers to full-time.
That's crazy, man. The QA department in every game studio is the most overworked, undervalued,
underappreciated
groups of people.
Overlooked also.
And overlooked, right? So that's great that they're converting a huge part of the department over to full-time.
Indeed.
But we've been in situations where we've been working overtime right, on an hourly basis, right? So I kind of question, though this is a positive, I don't want to take any swipe on that. If there was any motivation other than,
as in the old, like, hey, this person was getting, let's just say, $15 an hour, but once they hit overtime, they were getting like 26, and then or 22, something like that, and then once they hit double time, they were getting 30.
Yes.
So let's just make them $15 an hour, 40-hour a week, full timers.
Right. So the QA department are known for working overtime. And they are easily there 12 hours plus at any given time in the game cycle. Yeah. So I kind of question,
was it all in good merit?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, but in the end, it's an acceptance, right? Do you want to be full-time or not? But it's up to the person and individual to do.
I will say the good thing, the silver lining, even if it is that, they are guaranteed whatever their hourly rate is and they sign for, but they also get the
benefits and bonuses.
And they don't have to pay from their double time or half time or regular time
to go
buy the insurance or to go buy the vision or to go buy the, even mental health. Yeah. If any of those people needed a therapist or for whatever reason.
Right.
So at least knowing this, I think that if they are all just getting their base rate for 40 hours, like that probably sucks because now that you're full time, they're just going to expect that you're going to be putting in this extra time.
Yeah.
That is the first trick of like salary that like kicked me in the butt. It's like, hey, your salary, so all the extra time that you work is just covered in your salary.
Yeah.
But your salary is negotiated at your 8 hours a day rate, not at your potentially 15 to 16 hours a day, double time, half time rate.
Right. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah. I hope so too. I hope that this isn't one of those.
But I'm sure they looked at the stat sheets and made a convincing argument. If we converted 30 plus QA testers who are averaging 10 hours a day, right? Yeah. We would save this much amount of money over time.
Yeah.
That we're guaranteeing that they're going to work these hours. Because once you're full-time, you don't get overtime anymore.
Yeah, it's gone. You just work.
Yeah.
You just literally if you worked 25 hours or if you worked 10 hours, you get paid the same.
Mm-hmm. So let's read the rest of this. I hope that's not the case. But those are my initial thoughts when I heard about this. Yeah. Workers at Rockstar Lincoln, the British studio that does the lion's share of testing for both the Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead franchises, are being converted from contractors to full-time employees. 3 sources familiar with the studio have told Kotaku. The move will remove the uncertainty of working on temporary contracts. I mean, that's a plus. Yeah. A positive turn at a company with notoriously arduous working conditions. The changes were set to go into effect on August 1st, according to the sources. It's unclear how many people this affects, not whether it extends to temporary workers at other Rockstar studios. We hope to get more details. Nevertheless, it appears to be an improvement at a studio where full-time and contract workers helping make Rockstar's biggest gains felt the brunt of the company's crunch culture. There was an article last October that we talked about that, and a Lincoln employee had told us that the testing team had been working mandatory overtime for a year. And Rockstar confirmed that testers had been asked to work on evenings and weekends. The contractors had it rough. See, this is just opening up what was reported a year ago.
Yeah.
This doesn't stop the crunch culture, right?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It just pampers the illusion of it.
Right. So I don't know how I can look at this news as like a positive step.
Well, the key
thing is, the temporary to contract, there's a little bit more stability there.
Yeah. I will say this. If we don't know what these people are being paid, they could have been given some sort of a raise, like some sort of middle ground, like, hey, we know that we're going to ask you to work extra time, but we also know that we're going to make you full-time and give you benefits. So if you used to make 20, you're now going to make 30 or something like that. That would be great. We don't know. I haven't seen any of these contracts posted, but I would hope that this is like a full-on positive shift because this company generates so much digital revenue.
Yeah.
Right? With like, again, it's not a physical product. No warehouses, no employees guarding, no trucks to load, like none of this extra stuff, and they just make a killing hand over fist.
Yeah.
I know that they could afford to do right by their QA team. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how much it's going to cost them, I know they can afford to do right.
Yeah.
So they can afford to do right so much that it's probably almost negligent, where they would say, like, we could double the salary of everyone there. Everyone at Rockstar is still going to get their Lamborghinis or Ferraris or whoever gets those big-ass bonuses.
Yeah, they're going to do just fine, right? But I feel like it was justified because of the financing. For them to look at that group of people over there that's crunching mandatory hours. These are the set amount of hours. These are like a trackable number that we can project and have foresight on. If we converted half of these people into full-time, this is how much money we either am saving or paying just a little more and get the good press. Right?
Does it feel like a deflection at all that this might be more for the press and less for the people?
I think it's more for the because it's in response to the press. Yeah. This isn't an internal movement, right? Yeah. So of course it's a response to the press and the pressures, and they went back to the roundtable and was able to figure out a way that pleases both sides.
I'm going to take a quick moment to shout out Kent in real life, who just subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. We are halfway to a Subway sandwich. So, brother, we appreciate it. Or a sister. I'm assuming brother because I see Kent.
Kent in real life,
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Welcome to the team.
So, going back to the article, Kotaku also reported weren't allowed cell phones at their desks. Instead, must keep them in lockers. This policy, a source now tells us, has been rescinded. One source told Kotaku last week that attrition at Lincoln has been high, speculating that the impact that a negative press about Rockstar's labor practices last year may have combined with a high level of worker burnout to result in this policy change. Of course, Rockstar's also experimenting with flex time. Two of those sources said allowing workers to shift when they do their assigned work hours. What do you mean?
Rockstar experimenting with flex time. Okay.
I'm so dumb. When I read that sentence, I just imagined them being able to move in their chair a bit more.
No, it's like let's say you can't work a Thursday, so you pick up a Saturday.
Right. Just switch days, right?
Like they do in the restaurant industry all the time.
It's crazy that they are just now allowing that.
Well, I'm sure it's a big enough team that it makes sense. Like I can't imagine that they don't have people in a seat every single day. Right, like some people probably have like a Tuesday through Sunday schedule.
I see.
And some people have like a Monday through Friday. Some people have a Wednesday through Monday or some shit. I don't know.
Such granular changes to workplace policy are seldom made public nor covered in gaming news, but in recent years, journalism, activism, and at times a mix of both have brought greater attention to the taxing labor involved in making the game so many people enjoy. Last Friday was even the topic of a Netflix news story. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen it, but it's been going wild on my feed. I've been tagged like 3-4 times. Like, Larry, did you see this shit?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm going to watch it.
They pretty much researched game dev. So that's what's great, right? Yeah. We were having our 200th episode. It actually came out today. All right, talking about the differences that we've seen from 4 years ago to now.
Yeah.
Like things like this kind of outing what the game industry is about is trending, dude.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Where 4 years ago when we started it, we were, I would like to say, the first to broadcast this type of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Before Kotaku became Kotaku. Like Kotaku was smart. Like they've always had.
They were consumer-based games.
They were consumer-based.
But they had Jason.
And so they always had that strength, but I didn't think they went hard until like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, a year and a half ago, a tonal shift. The responses were great, both on the game developer, consumer level, whatever. Were sharing the articles, which also told them we need to go in this direction.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, right? It's a weird place over there. Kotaku is the leading platform for a lot of this outing news.
Yeah.
But every other post is like about Japan culture or some like quirkiness, right? So it's like a mixed bag of journalism over there.
Yep.
But I'm happy to see how game development, caring about games,
the accountability,
and an accountability is actually clickbait worthy now.
Well, there's the game development community, or not even the consumer community is so large.
Yeah.
Now. Like I never thought in the Mario days I would ever hear somebody talking about 300 million people play a single game together.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, take off like chess, like the traditional like sport, soccer, like those, sure, hundreds of millions of people play soccer.
Yeah.
I get that. But what I'm talking about is like video gaming.
Yeah.
I never thought in like my early days, even as I was like a young teenager, that I would ever hear 340 million people playing League of Legends or whatever game. You know what I mean?
Crazy, yeah.
It's crazy the numbers that some of these games, 40 million copies of a $60 game sold.
Yeah.
In Grand Theft Auto, and like
half
of that Call of Duty, and just it's insane. So there's a lot of people who are interested in what we do.
Mm-hmm.
The way that information is spreading so fast and so furiously these days, that yes, it is very easy to see like when an audience cares or is angry or is like protesting or is like, you can get immediate feedback if your company is doing the right or the wrong thing, because it's very free and it spreads like wildfire if you have a poignant point that you share with the internet. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's so hard. It's getting more and more difficult to do bad business, to be unethical in business. Yeah. And I'm honestly so happy, because it shouldn't be bad business, right? Yeah. Like, you shouldn't be like, damn it, we have to treat people like people again. Right. Like, we're going to have to pay these people fairly. Oh my God, you know how much we're going to lose? Yeah. Like, that attitude has to die and be snuffed out completely. Yeah. Right? Like, being a leader, being somebody as an executive level employee at a company, your goal shouldn't be to like screw everyone at all costs for the bottom line. Right. It should be, how can we make sure that everyone is taken care of so that this plane can fly as long as possible, so that we can make revenue as long as possible. Right. We need to bring back somehow, some way, that idea of a 60-year company. Right. GE, since it started, like, it's a generational company. I'm talking like grandfathers and fathers and sons all have gone to and through GE. Mm-hmm. Name a video game company that's done that yet. Right. We're not there yet, but we could be. Mm-hmm. Like, we definitely make a lot of money in the game industry. There's a lot of people interested in buying games and being part of this. So I am going to toot the horn of bring back ethics to top level business and execs. Like, bring it back hardcore. Yeah.
Do you feel like the executives are gathering in rooms now, seeing this tone of shift and being at least more careful about decisions being carried out as business, like business as usual type?
I see the opposite thing happening first. I think shysters will try to be more slick first before they try to be accountable. Right. So like,
this move right here is kind of like that, right?
I'm not ready to call it on this, right? But I would side more with, it's probably shyster more than it is accountable. I don't know, and I'm not going to stand on that, but that's just a gut feeling, because I feel like if you identify that a person is like already like made like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bad decisions, and let's say it's habitual, then you would be wise to assume that the next move that they make would also be in that gray or negative area. Can people change? Sure. Like, it will take an event that creates like that incentive or that catalyst to like, oh fuck, I'm gonna go to jail if I keep this up. You know what I mean? And that really has to hit home. It can't just be like, oh, but my lawyers will get me. Like, it has to be like some soul searching, life changing thing. You know what I mean? So like, and you look at Activision right now. Have you heard the article about them being in hot water for like $5 billion worth of like shuffle money? That is, whoa. Okay, so this,
because they're back to being owned by Bob Kotick and company, right?
So, full disclaimer, again, these are articles that we read all the time, and so I'm now trying to reference memory. But from what I was able to gather, it seemed like there was about $5 billion worth of taxable revenue that basically got shuffled and snuffed into not being taxable, so that the company could just completely hold on to it. $5 billion of money that should have been taxed.
That's a couple of Call of Duty games, guys.
Oh man, that is significant cheese that the government needs to know about. And you start doing like,
this is pretty recent though?
Oh, this is very recent, like 2 days, I think, maybe even a day ago.
Yeah, that's two. I think that's probably about 800 people's worth of salary. This is what I mean, man. It's like the greed gets greedier. There's a reason why EA and Activision are always the poster child when it comes to evil corporation, right? If it's either just trying to squeeze money out of the consumer with more loot boxes, doubling down with FIFA, or Activision having extreme amounts of profit and making it sweeter for the stockholders by laying off a lot of people.
So like, imagine that though, right? Like you said, like the quip that you said, that's 800 people's worth of salary. Them saying they had a record year, right? But then $5 billion extra dollars that wasn't reported properly to the government or to the shareholders, right? This is like,
I want more.
That wasn't properly reported to the shareholders as well. You know what I mean? Because
that's
now,
right.
So all those employees like, all right, we gotta let you guys go, man.
Yeah.
It's tight around here.
Yeah.
Don't look at my new Lambo. Just understand. That's a lease, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not a brand new model. I actually bought used. So, that should let you know that like we're very conscious about how we spend money around here. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm sure at this point people are more at least taking more seriously talking to the PR firm, right? Yeah. Before they make any like public actions. Yeah. I think that is at least happening because there's a lot more sympathy now.
Yeah, I want the accountability. I want more than anything for a company to just be like, this is the right thing to do. Who cares what it's going to cost us? We're not going to go out of business because we made sure that the first line of defense QA like can live and like enjoy their life, so therefore they can show up to work and do great work. Yeah. You want your games to not be buggy, you need two things to work well: the people who fix the bugs and the people who find the bugs. Yeah. Both of those are important to me. Yeah. Super important.
Yeah. I mean, the end product is better for that reason. I don't know if I guess you can chalk this up with the Rockstar overall as a positive move, right? Because the activism and the journalism was able to push a major company to make better decisions, right? So that's a win. Overall, it's a win. The only question is because of the was it like a budgeting choice overall, right? Because they looked at this amount of people. It makes sense for us to pay maybe a little more or save a lot, right? Who knows? But I would imagine they're not giving everybody a promotion, right? Per hourly rate. They're mostly telling them like, hey, you're a full-time employee. You have benefits now. We're paying you the same as before.
Yeah, man.
And I'm sure that is
somebody
very
tried
helpful.
to hit me with that at Spark. Yeah. So I was like a junior designer at the time. So it was non-full-time, but paid hourly. Yeah. And we're getting towards the end of the project. So now like my hourlies were like, I'm doing 65, 70 hours, maybe more. Yeah. Because once you hit 12, you're getting double time. Yeah. And they didn't want to pay double time, so you're just not supposed to report it. That kind of thing happened twice in my life, actually. Right. So then it's all of a sudden like, hey, Larry, got some great news. We're finally promoting you. Like, okay, cool. So what are we talking? All right, so your salary is going to go up by like $1, right? But you're full time now. So, congratulations. And I was like, the amount of money that I'm losing, because I know my workload ain't going down. Yeah. I was like, the amount of money that I'm losing in this deal because of halftime and double time. Yeah. I was like, this is the shittiest, shystiest deal I've ever presented in my life. And they're like, okay, well, it's Friday, 5 p.m. We really hope you think about it. You got to let us know by Monday morning. No time to do business or anything, right? Yeah. Well, we all know how that turned out. Yeah. I left.
Yeah, as you should.
Of
course. Like overall, we always preach about the problems with the industry, right? Overall, the power lies within the individual. Yeah. You can look and turn away from these deals and never feel trapped, right? Even though if you do feel trapped, you don't show that you're trapped, right? Always show that you have choices, because overall you're more attractive as an employee, right? Exactly.
Oh, no, you're not talking about me. No, sorry.
But you can't go to the negotiating table and let one person speak the whole time. It's not a negotiation. It's telling me what I should be doing next, right? It's an order. Yeah. It's an assassination on your character, right? So the best move for any game developer or any gaming consumer that cares about what's going on is leave the power within the game developer, right? Yeah. Don't stay at a place that is toxic or treating you like that, who undervalues the workload and tries to con you into a bad deal.
Yeah. Oh man. But it's so telling. It's so telling for me, the things that people do, right? Yeah. So like, for example, if someone were to be like, hey, Larry, look, we're going to give you, you're going to go from $28 to $30 an hour. You get no overtime anymore, but you're going to get the benefits. Still same workload. I look at that as like, man, you guys, you're trying to tell me that this turd is actually escargot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if I now know this about you. Like I now see that's the kind of decisions you make,
right.
but also how you even view me.
Yes.
Like the amount of respect that you have for me.
Exactly.
Like, okay, why would I trust my future
right
here? Why would I trust me trading life and time that I will never get back?
Yeah.
This is not mutual benefit.
And it's very sad. Yeah. It's very sad because I would like to hope that at least the majority would see that as a bad deal, but I would feel younger developers would believe into the employer's crap.
I really want to work here.
Yeah, and buy into it, thinking that they have your best interests.
Man, please. Mutual benefit is easy to discern from a contract, no matter what. You should feel at least, even if they're playing hardball, you should feel like they're playing at least respectful hardball. It should feel, like it shouldn't feel like disrespect. Yeah. It shouldn't feel like a blatant like, ha ha ha, he's gonna take this because he has no choice. So screws to him.
Yep.
Well, I would rather struggle. I've lived as low as you could possibly live, so I'm not afraid of the bottom.
Yeah.
And so much so that I'm not afraid to tell you no to your fucking face because you're disrespecting me with these little ass numbers. Right. Excuse my language if any young kids are watching.
Well, that's what's great about you. You're always upfront, right? Where I kind of like with an employer, I would try to skirt around a compromise, like a fuck you, with a backstab.
You're probably better at it than me, man. I give you credit. I think you
because you're like, there's a problem. Here's the problem. Let's talk about it. I was like, all right, I see you're screwing me. All right, I took the Monte Cristo route, right? It's like I will screw you when you least. Okay. So I'll play like the victim. I was like, oh, I guess this is something I gotta look at and examine. I'm thankful for you considering this. Let me think about it.
And you keep that off.
And I have that list.
You're like on every resume site you possibly can.
Yeah, it's like, so I have about a week and a half because that's what I promised them.
Gotcha.
Right. So there's two ways to go about it, and there's no wrong way, right? I think both methods is valid. You're respecting them enough to give them your honest thoughts and reply, right? And I think that's very commendable. At the same time, the other way is to kind of skirt around it is to allowing them to feel like they're in a power position. Right? Yeah, so they feel good no matter what.
So that's actually how I played it with Spark at that time. I was not afraid to say no. Yeah. But if I was in a position where I couldn't say no, I then knew that they know that they're putting me in an effed up situation, right? And they think that I'm just going to take it.
Right.
I'm going to take it until I have my exit.
Right.
So, okay, cool. Yep, I sign it.
Right.
So I signed the deal because I was already talking to other companies.
Right.
Because I had a feeling.
Smart, yeah.
And then once I got an offer from Sledgehammer, the Sledgehammer offer was better than the Spark offer. Course, yeah. So why would I stay at Spark?
Yeah.
And that I just
see that's the Monte. I approve that message, dude.
It's like 5 days.
That's the Monte Cristo. Yeah. It's like, hey, you don't care enough and value my
time and effort.
And effort in the project. So why should I respect your crappy deal? Yeah. I was here for those 5 days.
Yeah, I honored my contract until at will said that I'm going somewhere else.
And that's the power of the at will. Yeah. That's where I feel when the argument against the at will is, I don't think fully honored, right? Mm-hmm. The at will is beneficial on our side in a way. Although, if we really look at the terms, the determining factor is mostly at the employers, right? Yeah. If we look at a percentage of layoffs, it's not the employee deciding it, but there is a measure where we are free to leave when we want to.
I wish at will was at least gentleman's agreement 2 weeks both ways.
Yeah.
Like we have to put in our 2 weeks notice, right? I would love if the company was like, hey, so we're going to be terminating your employment in 2 weeks, regardless of if you stop working that day.
Exactly.
Here's at least 2 weeks worth of pay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's very informal the way we do things because people leave within a week too. Yep. And then they get all pissed off. But it works both ways. It's very, we talked about MBA, right? Mm-hmm. Invisible Walls, a few weeks ago about the idea of coming at it like a business because going to your employer, your future employer, you are yourself a brand, right? Mm-hmm. You are representing your business and what you can bring to help with the company. Mm-hmm. And that should be the way it should be, right? Because as soon as you answer to the boss, right?
The boss.
you're in deep waters.
Yeah.
Because now it's a different dynamic. Because how many times have you worked in a place where the boss feels like they own you, right? And as soon as you get outside that bubble, the power is all fakery, right? It's only within these walls that you have any influence in my life.
Yeah.
But as soon as we walk out on the street, we're equals again, right? But that is the dynamic that you feel within an office a lot when you work in these working conditions.
I agree. Like I understand how the hierarchy works. For me, the only pressure was just to make sure that I got along with everyone and I did a job well.
Right.
Because no matter how long my tenure would last at any company, I wanted to leave knowing that the people that I was there with would at least recommend me on LinkedIn. That's like I don't want to call it like my goal. I don't go to a company to just be like, oh, I want LinkedIn recommendations. Right. But I mean that like, just as a reminder, like a little keepsake memento that I have on my desk is like, hey, Larry, remember, always make sure that when you leave a place, the people that you worked with would at least recommend you on LinkedIn. Right. Because that helps me to always try to make better decisions, to try to be a lot more personal or like develop relationships better. Right. It's not fake. It's just I'm concentrating on trying to make sure that I add more than I take when I go into any sort of situation. Mm-hmm. And so, and why I say the hierarchy is because, like, of course, if a boss like, hey, Larry, I need you to do this. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's coming from pretty high up the chain. I better consider how I need to get that done. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't feel like I'm being owned. Yeah. Because if it was like, hey, Larry, we need you to take one for the team. Right. Go down to that warehouse where all that water is, and we need you to S some D. Yeah. You know, and I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to get in my car. Yeah. I'm going straight to my lawyer's office, and then we'll be in touch. You know what I mean?
But this is where it gets really muddy, right? Because we're at a place where bigger companies want and in contract owns 100% of what you do outside of work. Yeah. And that is insane, right? That's where we are not being represented enough to combat that measure in a contract. So many of our friends at these huge companies cannot work on personal work because in contract, whatever company they work at owns that, and you can't start work without that.
I think that needs to just be made illegal as a practice.
It sounds illegal, right? It's because essentially any creative output that you ever have, even if you work within the constraints of an 8-hour window, you're completely disowning your own content.
No, that's not fair.
That's insane.
It really, especially because,
is that true with any other industry? With any other creative input?
I would imagine shit like that probably tries to fly in the music industry as well. Like, hey, you know, Taylor Swift, now that you're under our record contract, anything that you write at any time, any musical related thing that you do, I'm sure people will try to pitch. Like, I've heard a 360 deal, but like, I'm sure people just try to take everything. Right. Because why not? Yeah. Like, let's just be honest. If you are the company, if you are the record label, why not go for everything? It helps you. Yeah. Right? You have more control. You have less variables. You have less to risk, less that goes wrong, less that's happening outside of you that you don't know about. Where, like, you don't get Frank Oceaned, which is, hey, I've got one last album on my contract, so I'm just going to make this bullshit album to, like, satisfy the contract. And, like, the next day, my real album comes out on my new deal.
So he actually did that?
I forgot what the timing between the two albums was, but he dropped a, like, contract fulfillment album, which was just like you could tell, like he was.
He was barely trying,
Then he dropped the album. I think it was Blonde. Wow. With the real songs, like all the legit, like where the money had actually been spent. Wow. And he dropped that on the new deal or independently, but there was like a 2-album, like 2-day something about that. You just go research it. But Frank Ocean like kind of did that, and I was like, damn, it's so fucked up.
That's what you're pushing for, right? Yeah. As soon as you like lock people's creativity in a box, they don't want. Yeah, that's what happens. And creativity, or creative people, are the last types of people that you want to put in a box. Yeah. It's like it's against our nature to follow the rules. All right. It's like we're different from other industries in that way.
It's like you have a chef who works at your hotel 10 hours a day. Yeah. Then that chef goes home and cooks for his family. Yeah. Should that chef get sued? Yeah. No, yes or no?
No. Exactly. Of course not. But it's exactly the same scenario that's happening. It feels like. That's what I mean. Like outside of our creative industry, like what other industries are doing that? It sounds so illegal. Yeah. It's like your human right is being questioned.
No, it's
a basic human right where
for me it's an ethics thing, and I hate it. I hate if a company is like,
I pay you X salary, therefore I own your life.
Yeah, we own everything that you do. I understand a non-compete. Like, hey, we're going to give you trade secrets.
That I can understand that. But it's gotten beyond that now. No, it's like, hey, I'm just wanting to teach what I've learned and explore.
No, we own that. We own that.
That's crazy.
No, we own that.
I have to get permission from you?
No, we own that, Brandon. I'm sorry. We own that.
On my Saturdays?
I made up a story to read to my son. No, we own that. We own that.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? So I hope like things change. Well, things are changing where we're finally being represented and actually seen as a threat at the negotiation table. And things like what's happening with Rockstar is telling to like how outside pressure can actually change things.
Subtle shifts are happening. We do have a little bit of collective bargaining power right now. It's called internet's perception of your company being tarnished. So therefore, what are you going to do to... So like that is our union power right now, because we don't actually have a games union. We don't actually have a labor union for game developers. But what we do have is like, oh shit, we're in the press, we're in hot water, and a lot of the people that we're going to be selling to have a very negative opinion of us right now because of something. So we need to fix that. Yeah. That's really all the power that we have to lean on right now. It's very hard to be a barely paid, underpaid, or just paid enough employee and then go on strike. Yeah. Because to prove your point, you're going to significantly hurt yourself. Yes. Right? To go on strike for 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to not do a job. Sure, the company is going to be like, fuck, we're 4 weeks behind schedule or whatever. Yeah. All your bills are 4 weeks behind schedule. If you don't have the power to survive that, your ability to pay for food, water, sustenance, and shelter is going to be hindered because you are striking against the company that provides those things for you through your labor agreement. Yeah. And so it makes it very difficult.
Makes it very difficult, but I want to also advise that the same way our side isn't used to doing that, their side isn't equipped to handling that type of pushback, right? Yeah. They have deadlines, hence the crunch.
Yeah, strikes will be over quickly if
I feel like it would.
300 million on the line?
Yeah, if people actually banded together, they wouldn't wait for it to blow over, right? There would be immediately a negotiation because they can't risk creativity being pushed back because that is it's an anonymous number already to start with, and you're putting X amount of numbers pushing it back.
The thing is, it takes everyone, or so much of or so close to everyone that it may as well be everyone, right? It can't be like, oh, like 40 of us walked out. Yeah. Right? Like a company can look at 40 out of 300 and come up with a replacement plan. Yeah. They can't look at 280 out of 300 have walked out and refused to work.
Well, I mean, like, look at the riot situation, right? It was a great walkout, right? There's a good amount of hundreds of people going out to protest. The mistake there was they said a one-day walkout, right? Where's the threat? Yeah. It's like, we're not walking out until conditions are met. No, you guys have your one-day thing. We can afford it. We looked at the numbers. Yeah. Like, it was really weird. It was the weirdest tactic. It also tells us that game developers don't really know how to protest. Like, you don't work with the company to schedule that in, you know what I mean?
It's really inconvenient that you guys are doing this, but here, you can walk
this
out
is
from,
the best
from
thing for
2 to 6 p.m. today on a Friday. Yeah. The day we're going to give you guys time off anyway. Sometimes companies will do that. Be like, hey, take the rest of the day off for whatever reason. And everyone's like, yay. Companies do that all the time. They lose, the whole team's worth of salary to man hours work for 4-6 hours. A lot of companies do that all the time on certain days. But we got a comment here. I'm going to read it. Eki Tubby. I used to do roofing, and when I finished the job, I would take pics for my own portfolio. I showed my own manager, and he got super pissed and ordered me to take them down because the roofs were technically the company's. Oh, that is some horse shit, because you took the photos to show your work. You weren't taking the actual roof. Yeah. Like, you didn't literally take the roof job that you guys just did. Yeah. You were like, hey, here's evidence of the work that I'm able to do. That's some horse shit right there. I hope if you still work there. No, it says used to do roofing. Yeah.
It's the owner's slave mentality. Yeah. It's like, people are leaving. How do we prevent them from leaving? Let's take away their rights. Yeah. Right. That's like a knee-jerk type of reaction. Yeah. Instead of like, what's going on? Why do you want to leave? Like, get to the crux of the problem and figure out what makes your employees happy. because that is the long-term solution right there. Trying to band-aid and like restrict people from living freely and happily, right?
It only hurts you.
It only hurts you in the long run, because now you have disgruntled employees, right, that are looking for the next opportunity to leap to.
I'm not going to pull actual math out of my butt, but I'm going to verifiable math out of my butt. But what I will pull out is this is kind of like how I feel about business ethics and like doing the right thing. You can look at 2 years where you make 300 million over those 2 years, but then you've cannibalized your company, you've ruined your integrity, and then now your like company's like dying sharply for the remaining 8 years. Or you could look at maybe making 190, 250 every year. Right? Or maybe I need a probably better. Maybe let's call it 100 million every year for 10 years. Versus 200 million every year for 2 years, and then roughly nothing for 8 years. You know what I mean? I always will look beyond the like, hey, this is going to be a great game. This is a great opportunity for me to show that I've made 200 million here, and then bounce, which a lot of C-level execs have been doing. They've been doing the shuffle of like, I'm just going to drive up your numbers no matter how I have to do it for like a year or two, so that I get my gold star, and then I move on to the bigger pot, the bigger poker table. That is what I feel like is, not that specifically, but that is one of the things that's hurting our industry, because it's making companies not look at like, let's talk about sustainability, longevity. Let's talk about being stable. Let's talk about being a cycle that works and continues to work, because while we're growing, we're reaping. We're growing and then reaping. We're not just reap. We're out of crop. We're out of business.
It's a leaky bucket type of situation, right? Keep the talent in to keep making your games. And again, it's devaluing the talent. When you stop respecting the talent, it's just exactly what we're talking about the NBA. When you stop respecting the talent, you're not going to have an industry, right? They're trying to band-aid it and try to usher in like fresh out of college type of students to kind of fill in the seats. But I feel in the last 10 years, the diminishing return is clearly happening, right? The game cycles are getting longer because the mistakes are being encountered as a team for the very first times. And just to the team for the very first time. It's the same problem across any studios, right? Within all these crunch culture horror stories, it's the same story. Where, you know, the scheduling at the very front wasn't realistic. New features that are constantly being tackled, never been created before, especially on an innovative franchise, right, are being realized that it's impossible, that the time frame before was ridiculous, because it's being done by leads that haven't done it before and by teams that haven't worked with each other before. And so there's a lot of internal politics and conflicts that comes with that.
What saddens me about the way that the game industry is being run on the corporate level by like my term, the neckties now, is that like the neckties job doesn't change. Their skills transfer. And so let's just assume, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? Let's just assume the worst. The game industry gets ruined. We get to a point where talent has been cannibalized. They've all moved out. Nobody wants to make top level big games anymore. It's just the people who are like indie level, doing it for fun, doing it for passion. But we lose all of the big projects are gone. Let's say dead and gone. Let's just jump to that day. The neckties can go like this. Well, that sucks. Off to Verizon. Off to, you know, Circuit, or whatever. Like whatever big name company chain needs an executive, needs a manager, needs an operator, needs a logistics person, needs a finance person. They can just transition right over. It's the people who had the specialized skills of being game developers who look around like, well, that sucks. Now what? You know what I mean? And that part is what saddens me the most, is that like the people running the ship honestly are protected either way. They can siphon out all the money, and then when it's done, hey, you know, here's your golden parachute, and it looks like you're a free logistics manager. Well, hey, our company also has logistics. Come on over here. Hey, you're a free CEO. Well, we're thinking about doing this secondary brand under our umbrella. We want you to run it. Now you're selling, I don't know, headphones, whereas before you were selling video games. But it's still sales. Like I'm sure you can do this. Bullshit.
It's bullshit, and it's hurting the industry in a big way. Like I always compare it to the PS2 days. Like we had like an influx of crazy, excellent games, where they had to segment to the greatest hits, and there was hundreds of those games. Where developers were in smaller teams and they were able to pump out games, even though with delays, it was in a reasonable time, and be able to ship it out. We had less and less of that with every console generation. I don't see that improving. Instead, the opposite's happening. The games that are being made are taking longer. The budgets are getting bigger, and they have to substitute DLC models. This is where all the problems are coming from. Ways to squeeze more money out of the same consumer instead of growing the market, right? And we're kind of relying on other industries trying to figure that out. Thankfully, because us being creative, we are creative in figuring out solutions for ourselves. And although it means like killing one of our key business, which is, again, yes, even Nintendo acknowledges, or Sony acknowledges, that the console business is a very niche market of the game market. But I feel like a lot of that has to do with us cannibalizing ourselves and not being able to showcase how fun these hardcore games can be, how relative it is, right? We just constantly went back to the corpses.
We're doing a lot of reiterating instead of iterating.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that is like there's a lot of new Call of Duty, new Assassin's Creed, new Saints Row, new blah 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 versus Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever. Or like we're seeing a lot more redo the safe thing and a lot less of let's try the new thing. I will say this though, like I still just believe that one of our, I don't want to call it a problem, but just one of the things I'm observing about the industry right now is it's so easy to find games, no matter if you have console or not.
Right.
Like there are so many different games on different platforms vying for your attention with low barriers of entry that like I for damn sure can see why it's hard to say I'm in the console business, because the console business isn't the only gig in town anymore. Right. Before you either had a Super Nintendo or Sega, or you went to the arcade. Like those were your options kind of thing. PC games, like, okay, sure, like that too. But like when we're really talking about the golden era of consoles, you like had which of the major consoles am I going to buy, or am I going to go to an arcade? That was it. Now it's like, am I going to play my cell phone? Am I going to play my computer? Am I going to play in my Tesla? Am I going to play on my handheld? Am I going to play on my console? Am I going to play my VR? Am I going to go to the? It's like games are everywhere now.
Everywhere now. Everywhere.
That's just what it is.
And it's a lot to thank to the smaller developers constantly innovating and going across to these different platforms. Other industries chiming in, wanting a piece of it with the VR market, with all the phones, with everything that are letting people experiment games. But we're talking about the console makers and the first-party developers that finance the third-party developers. If we had been left to our own devices, we would have continued the PS3 era of studios shutting down. We were saved. And I don't think that gets written enough about how we were saved during that era with the iPhone coming out and all that stuff. Like there was a bailout that constantly gets ignored.
And there was a place for that mid-level game idea. Right? Like you had mentioned greatest hits earlier, and I'm not gonna lie, like that was one of my favorite things that happened in games, to be like, what, 1999 for Jet Moto 2? Hell yeah, I don't have that yet. Like, I'm so excited. But I still buy, like I love the like, hey, here's the remastered collection, less price, but you're getting more content even. Like, I know the game's older, but buy the Batman Arkham collection for $29 and you're going to get 2 great Batman games. Like, I haven't played either. This is great. I love that. But I also loved like the mid-tier game, the like not 60-hour like next-gen graphics pushing like huge mega adventure, but the like, this is something that we believed in, that we tried and we thought it was really dope. Like Ors, Blind Forest, or Hellblade, or you know, any of those games that come out. Life is Strange. In that, like, I call it like the mid-tier level. I'm so glad that there's a place for those experiences now, because you get so much innovation and so much risk, but you also get the polish. And that to me is like that is my perfect target spot. Is I'm getting something new, something very different.
Yeah.
It might not be super long.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting polished as well.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for Steam and so happy for like ID at Xbox and like all the places where a team of like 10 folks who like really like working with each other can still make content and make money.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's overall what we want to get to, right? So Rockstar, pay those people those monies.
Yeah.
Get pressured by outside influence. We don't care how you tend to get to that conclusion, get to it. And overall, we have lots of things to look forward to. Yeah. So that ends today's broadcast. We are ending with Games Recap today. Thank you for everyone that's tuning in on our twitch.tv/blue_champs. Please catch up with our other episodes if you missed any on our youtube.com/blue_champs. Thanks for everyone for subscribing. Thanks for everyone supporting us on Patreon. We are going to return on Thursday because I'm going on vacation tomorrow.
And get out of here.
And we're going to do it our first remote, real live conference. We're going to see how that works. So Thursday, 10 a.m., we'll be back with Games Recap for the rest of the week.
Brandon's going to be like, Larry, what do you think? And I'm going to be like that teleprompter who's like delayed. Yeah, hi, Brandon. Yeah, okay, so here are my thoughts.
We're going to have a nice sandy beach behind me while I do this too. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching, and see you guys next time.
Peace. Consider yourselves recapped.